Hello. Welcome. So today we're going to transplant our seedlings, and I have about 45 minutes to do this because after this I gotta split phase. So we call this phase 2. And after this phase, they're essentially going to be going through the hardening process before we finally transplant them to the to my to my raised garden bed. So I have here with me my transplant pot and bunny compost. We're going to be using water and the soil. So those are the main things we need when transplanting. This is the soil I use. Moisture control potting mix. I've been using this for years and it's been working. So the first transplant I did the other day, that was tomatoes. And today we're going to be transplanting some peppers and basil. Right here is my mixing pot. So what I do in this mixing thing, you do not want to mix like put the soil and transplant them when they're dry like this. You want to make sure that the soil is moist when you're transplanting. This is cold bunny compost. This is really good, but since they're really seedlings, I'm not putting a lot, just a little bit, right, so they can have a taste of it. Bunny compost is good to help with the leaves, to help with leaf growth, so right now the plant needs their leaves to grow well for photosynthesis and all that good stuff. So just a little bit of it is what I need, and I said a little because you don't want to get it burnt. They can get burnt, root burnt from too much nitrogen, because bunny compost is rich in nitrogen. All right, when I finally transplant them to my raised garden bed, they will definitely have more bunny compost. That is as much as I have left because I am out of bunny compost. We no longer have a bunny, so now I really have to manage the compost to use. I'm gonna put a little bit more here, just a tiny, yeah, just tiny, really small, and that's how we're gonna do it. All right. I already transplanted my tomatoes, and if I were to turn back the hand of time and do it again, I would have done it in this bigger pot, because tomatoes, before I get to the hardening phase, I feel like I might need to transplant it again, and I really don't want to do that. But in my mind, I'm like, maybe I could quickly just move it around now. So now I'm gonna put some water. Temperature of water, I really don't know. I'm just gonna say I'm using warm water. Is there a specific temperature you need? I don't know. Okay, I'm just putting warm water. And after that, what I'm doing is mixing it to get it moistened. Hopefully you guys can see. I think you guys can see. So this is the consistency you want it to have to start using it for transplanting. All right. So started off as seed sprouts. Tomatoes took about 4 to 6. In general, tomato takes about 7 days, but my tomatoes started sprouting by I believe day 4, between day 4 and day 7. And the same thing for basil. They were the fastest to sprout, but tomatoes is the fastest to grow. I'm telling you. And I made some mistake in the beginning, which I shared in my prior videos, where I didn't put on the lights for the tomatoes, so they became so leggy. And even when I was transplanting them, because of this pot, I couldn't even put as much of the what do you call this part of the plant? For goodness sake, I should know better. This part was so leggy, I couldn't put as much of it buried in the soil so it could form from roots, just because it was very leggy. So, but I wish I had used a bigger pot. If I've done that, then I could bury more of the of the tomato. Unlike bunny, unlike horse manure and cow manure, the beauty of bunny compost is that you can apply it directly to your plant. So if you're looking for manure that you want to use just right immediately, your best bet is bunny compost. If you're looking for very green leafy plants, like for example, if you eat the green leaf, if it's a vegetable that you're gonna eat the leaves and stuff like that, you really want to focus on just the leaves growing really good. Yeah, body compost is the best bet. At least that's what I've learned. If anybody knows otherwise, you can drop a comment. Um, but that just makes sense to me. Yeah, and in my garden, that's typically what I've been using for the past few years. Bunny compost, and it's been good. All right, all right. Just a little more water, just a little more. And then we're gonna get started. Just a little more, just a little more, because I don't want to have to worry. It's welcoming. You're just joining in. We are transplanting our seeds from the seed tray, you know, and this is what it should look like. Your soil. You don't want your soil dry when you're transplanting. You want it moist, like this. Okay. All right. And if you're gonna be watching this later, you're probably gonna find me. I'm repeating myself over and over again. That's because we are live, and people come in and people go. So you want to keep them in tune with what's happening. So what I typically do is fill it like almost about halfway, and then after that, then I top it up once I put the seedlings rather. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. And guess what? Last year I was using a cart to host all these plants, but this year I have graduated to a shelf. So on this shelf here is located in my garage. Before I used to do everything for my laundry, from seeds to sprout to when I do harden and all that good stuff. But now it's gonna be in the garage. So I'm gonna see how this year goes with just doing it in the garage. We're gonna see. Alright. Alright. I was trying to decide whether or not I should get as much at the bottom first before even if the soil finishes, before I start transplanting, and I decided to do that. And this plastic, I've been using it for the past 2 years, 3 years now. So what I do after each year is that I keep them for next year, and then I wash them for use when it's time to use them. So guys, so now is the big moment, okay? I'm gonna start with the pepper plants first. So this plant here, right here, as you guys can see, is a combination of habanero and cayenne pepper. I'm almost certain that this right here is cayenne. I didn't label them per se, because you know what, the peppers want to start growing, I know what they are. Yeah, so I put cayenne here and habanero. Yep. So cayenne is right here, and this habanero. Yep. So I'm correct. So I could kind of tell by the structure of the plant, as you can see possibly. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference. If you can tell the difference, drop a yes in the chat. I think it's quite obvious. This is kind of tall. This one is kind of short, and wide is kind of long. So the rule of thumb is when they have at least 2 sets of true leaves, and this is what a set of true leaves is this right here. This right here is 1 set of true leaf, and this right here is the second set. So like this plant right here, it has 2 and 2. So once they're like that, then they're good to transplant. In some cases, you can transplant when it just has 1 set of true leaves. But today, depending on how I feel, I'm going to focus on the 2 set of true leaves first. And then if I got time and I got some, things going on, I'm just going to go ahead and transplant the ones with just 1 set of true leaf that looks like a second set is about to be here. So let's go. All right. I think I want to prepare my soil for this first before I do that. And this time I'm not going to add any body compost because I've added it to the bottom I'm just gonna go ahead and just fill it. Because again, like I said, I don't have much body compost left, so we are managing right here. Again, add some water. Feels like I'm doing a bread. You know when you're making a dough for like bread, meat pie, or whatnot. That's how it feels like when mixing the soil. It's quite funny. What did I just see? Okay, like is that a bug? Is that a worm? So, anyway, so yeah, it's gonna mix it up a little bit more before I get started. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop in the comment. Um, and as I look and I see, I will answer. Alrighty. I am not a master gardener, but I've been doing this for I think going to 4 years now. So there's a few things I've learned in across some mistakes, many mistakes I've made, and some things I've learned too. And I'm part of a group on Facebook, a gardening group. So when I have questions, that's where I go. Or sometimes I ask you guys questions too. You know, when I post on my page. So yeah. All right. So let's get started with this one. So the last time I heard someone said that they pull the stem out to get their plants. I've never done that before, so I don't know how they did that successfully, but I'm showing you how I do mine. So pretty much, this is you guys see the roots right here. So you know this is outgrowing this. So pretty much I do is just squeeze the bottom of the pot, right, like so, and that kind of shifts it up, right. Ooh, come on, come on, come on. I'm trying to be so extra careful because I have other plants on the other side. I don't want to mess the other plants up. If you guys can see, so but I need my two hands, so that's why I'm putting this at the bottom right now. All right. Ooh, ooh. So sometimes you get it perfectly where this still stands. Sometimes you don't. But this is like half and half. I think it's also nicer when the soil is wet versus when it's dry to pull them out. Because I notice when they're dry, and you're trying to pull it out, it just falls off. But whereas when they're a little bit wet and moist, it is to pack it up like this. That is from my experience. So this is what it looks like. This is cayenne pepper, and here are the roots. Okay, and then this is the pot I'm going to put it in. Hope you guys can see. So what I do is I use my fingers to kind of get in, because again you want to bury this part as much as possible. This is not really leggy, so I'm not going to worry too much about burying so much of it. And then I'm going to put it in here at the bottom. You guys can see. I hope you guys can see. Guys can see. Please drop a yes in the chat so that I can know that you guys are following. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. So now I'm gonna top this up with some soil. Just around it. I'm not gonna press too hard on the soil. I'm just like patting it down, but not like pressing it heavily. You know. I've forgotten why you shouldn't do that, but that's what I learned, and that's what I do. It'd be nice to kind of know why you shouldn't do it though, because I always like to know why I shouldn't do certain things. Okay, so gently pat dry this. I really love how the peppers, this cayenne pepper came out as compared to my tomatoes. My tomatoes look crazy, but I'm hoping for the best with them. All right, so this is our first one ever that we're done this year. Isn't it beautiful? I love it. All right, let's proceed to the next one. All right. See, some of these things are still growing. Some of them are still forming, so I'm gonna leave them there. Gonna move this one too. See the issue of this one right here. You see that is also forming another one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna transplant both of them together. Okay, I'm gonna transplant both of them together, and I'm thinking for that I might use a bigger, let's see, I might use a bigger pot this time for this one, because if two of them were to go together like that, one of them is ready to go, the other one isn't ready. So I'm going to use a bigger pot for them for when the other one is ready, because I don't want to kill off the other plant, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't want to kill off the other plant. So I'm going to just transplant it inside here. At least I'm going to try to save the other one. Or let's see. Or I'm thinking, what if I leave it behind here because the soil is different? Guys, I'm thinking out loud as we are in this process. I'm like, maybe I should leave it in there to give it a chance to grow. I don't know. Let's see. Let's try that. I'm gonna leave it in just to see if I can give it a chance to grow. There's another one right here. Oh, Miss Monica. No problem. I'm recording. Just, you know. Oh, there's still more to get.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. So this is the seedling right here. I'm gonna try to put it back. Oh no, you're fine. I'm gonna try to put it back and see if it grows. All right. Let's get to this one here. Let's move my rhythm a little bit. All right. Okay. I want to try to see if I can just leave it there, because the different soils have like different nutrients, so you know that helps seeds grow depending on the like plants grow depending on their stages. So my thinking is like, if I put it in the soil, would it affect its growth? I'm not quite sure, right? So I'm gonna try to put it back in the lab and allow it to do its thing. I'm gonna put some soil inside it, yeah, to see. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do and see what happens with that. Because as much as I want to transplant it, I want it to get as much heat as possible and all that. But at this stage now, you don't need to put what's the word? The use of what do you call that? You don't need what's the word? I'm losing what the word I'm trying to find. Yeah, you don't need the heat mat anymore. So I'm no longer using heat mat for this other plant, whereas this little one here still needs a heat mat. So I'm gonna leave it in here. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have this one here to move, so let's do that too. It's always nicer if when they're all grown at the same time, you know, at different stages. I mean, the same stages, so you don't have to worry about like destroying one seedling, you know, while you're trying to pull the other one out. But you have to be extra careful because there's still some very tiny ones there. All right, so this is the third one that we've moved out successfully. All right, dig the hole here and put it down. All right, wonderful. And this tray I'm using here is what's going to house the plant, the pots. So when I water them, the water doesn't go through the shelf and hit the lights. You don't want to get electrocuted. Okay. So that one, pot 3. All right. as I'm moving them, I'm collecting the soil to put there. Let me see. So this right here is habanero, and this has its 2 sets of tulips already, as you guys can see. 1, 2. So that's my rule of thumb. The best time for me, based on my experience, is when they have a 2 set of tulips. But in some cases, even with 1 set of tulips, you can move it. Okay. Like my tomatoes, they're already looking like they were outgrowing where I was putting them, and some of them didn't have the 2nd set of tulips. So, but I moved them anyways. I just moved it because I need them to grow, you know. So this one right here is what I'm doing. You let them sit in the soil, and then just top the soil around it with new soil. And what I love about this pepper is they're not so leggy. So I don't have to put them deep inside, you know, the pot, and gives them room to grow. But the tricky part of it is just ensuring that you're not covering up the leaves, you know. So this is habanero for you. I find out with peppers, the ones that grow the fastest are cayenne pepper, followed by habaneros, from my experience. Alrighty. So this one here is 2 peppers in 1 seed tray, and look at one of them. It's having something going on there. So this one I'm going to transplant too. They are in the process of getting the 2nd set of tulips, but I'm moving them. Okay, that's what we have right here. Isn't that beautiful, guys? Beautiful. Right there. And then when I'm splitting them up, so I split them up so just ever so gently, as much as I can, you know, like so. And that's pretty much it when it comes to that one. And because the roots are not the stems are not so long, I added some more soil to the base of the pot. I mean, to the top of the pot, so that I do that. Here we go. This is what it looks like, guys. Okay, like so, like so. All right. Same thing here. I'm gonna add a little bit more to the pot because the roots are short. I mean, the stems are short, and I'm just gonna apply them around. It's like the more you do this, the more you're like, I think this works better, instead of me fighting to make sure that I'm not covering the leaves. Why not just add more soil? All right. So this is what that looks like too. Habanero. Let me see how many more I have to move. All right. I'm not moving this one or this one. I'm going to leave them to grow. I'm going to move that one. This one right here. This one has a 2nd set of 2 leaves, very small, but they're there. And I feel like if I leave them there, they're not going to grow back because it's 2 of them fighting for space. So I'm going to move that one too. I'm going to move this one and then 2 more, and then we're done with peppers for today. Okay. Let me add a little bit more soil here. Okay. Let me do the easy one first. Again, for those who are just coming in, this is how you do it. Push from the bottom all the way until it goes all the way up, and then you grab it with your other hand, and ta-da! Then you put it in here. Ooh, let's shift this up a little bit. Okay, I try to, as much as possible, to put it in the center. As much as possible, guys. That's what I do. I try. Does it always stay in the center? Not always. Welcoming those who are just joining. We're transplanting our seedlings. We're taking them to phase 2 of their journey, from seed to harvest. And right now, phase 2 is basically moving them from the seed tray right here where they needed constant heat, light, and water. Not constant, as needed water when they when they dry out. I don't want to say constant water because that means like you're constantly watering them, even if they're like super wet. So right now they don't need that. They don't need that heat mat anymore. Um, but they do need light and good ventilation to avoid mold, and to kind of prepare them for the outside world. So we simulate outside world by using a fan to fan them around. All right. So the next ones, please, Tora. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Okay. Thank you. 15 minutes. Computer. 15 minutes, Tora. All right. So here we go. It's the last two I'm transplanting for. I have about 35 more minutes, so before I have to go. No, I'm not gonna 35 more minutes. I have about 15 more minutes. So let me try to successfully finish all I have to do for today. Alright, so this is the second one. There are two plants, two seedlings in here that I need to transplant. Ooh, ooh, oh. Gentle, gentle. Okay, easy. Easy on me. I need more soil. So yeah. So see how close they are. I just basically split them slowly, and they still have their roots, and I put them in like that. Okay. So you guys can see. See, yeah. Put a little bit of hole in there with my hands, and because they don't have a lot of stem, I don't really have to worry so much about burying it, um, as much of the stem inside us. With my tomatoes, where they were very leggy, and I had to bury a lot of it, and that still wasn't enough. But it is what it is. We tried our best. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and do the last one of our peppers before we move on to basil. All right. So for that one, let me move this out of the way. Okay. You guys can see me. I hope you guys can see. For those who are joining, welcome in. All right. There we go. Oh, cute little peppers. How are you guys doing? How you doing? How you doing, Pepper? In case you're wondering, this is yeah, there you go. This is habanero peppers. So I have habanero peppers, cayenne pepper, ghost peppers. The ghost peppers are going to be the last one to be transplanted because some of them started off sprouting at day 21 as opposed to the habanero we started like between day 7 and day 14. So you can imagine they got a long way to go. So this one seedling here grew with another plant that was ready to transplant in. So what I did was I split it into two, and now I'm going to put it back on the heat mat, and hopefully, I'm hopeful that it still continues to grow well. So that's my plan, is to leave it in here to give it opportunity to get the heat that it needs, right, to still grow. And I'm hopeful that it grows. All right. Um, I think in about a week or two, in about a week, I believe this one should be ready. This pepper should be ready. All right, so these ones are going right back to the lab. Phase one. They're going back to phase one. Okay, you guys can see the basil. They smell so good. Ooh, if you touch it and put it in your fingers, it smells really good. So I have 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm going to plant 2 together at once because they don't need as much space to grow to grow. Well, let's see. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. I think I'll do about 8 of them. Okay. They are quite dry, so I'm gonna see if what I was talking about is true. They're actually very dry. So I hope it doesn't mess up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8. All right. All right. Can I do this in 10 minutes, guys? Let's see. Right. So let's go. So this is dry here, and remember I talked about how it's good to have it wet. This is dry, and I didn't realize they were dry already. So I need to wet them because gonna go like this. Like, help me, give me some soil. So let's try out what I mentioned and see if it's true. So I have to put it down so I can use my hands properly. Yep. See how the soil at the bottom is falling off because it's dry? Do you guys see that? So it's always nice to have them wet when you're transplanting. So that's the mistake I made with this one, with the basil. And the reason I'm transplanting them regardless is that I'm noticing that the tall ones are kind of blocking off the ones that are trying to grow. So I need to make sure that I just move them. I move them ASAP so I can allow the other ones grow, with the basils especially. So you see what I'm saying here? You guys are seeing how this is just crumbling all over the place because it's not wet, right? So that's why it's important that when you're transplanting them, that you let the soil be wet. It's for your benefit. Well, the benefit of the soil of the seedling. It makes for easy transplant, right? Right now I'm struggling to keep the basil up just because I did not water it first before transplanting. All right. So you don't want that to be your own story. All right, guys. So yeah, that's what we have here, and it's even falling downwards a little bit. All right. What I love about basil is that they grow really fast. I'm gonna give them a little bit of water, just a little bit of water, just a little bit of water, just a little bit. All right. Let me see if I can put some water in this one. Excuse me. I want to see if I can put some water with it. How the soil is doing. Okay. They've gathered some good amount of water. So I am continuing with the transplanting process. Definitely going to go around and look at my other seedlings to make sure that they have enough water. Yeah. So the next one is this 2 right here. Let's do that. Let's see if immediately transplanting them would work. Being that I just literally put water in them. Yep, it worked. So see why it's important that you make sure that your stuff is moist before you transplant them. Okay. Yeah. Of course, you want to make sure your roots are buried inside the soil. They're not like outside of the soil, because there's a reason why they grow downwards. They don't need to be exposed. So you make sure when you're transplanting them that the roots are not exposed. Likewise, okay? All right. So that's it for the basil. Not all of them. For this 2 that I just did right now. And someone might be wondering, why didn't you just leave them the way they are and just transplant them? I just want to give them a little bit more room to grow. I plant by square foot. I do square foot gardening. With square foot gardening, for 1 square foot, 4 basil plants can grow in 1 square foot. So just so you guys are aware, that shows you that they don't need as much space as a tomato needs. A tomato needs 4 square foot to grow 1 tomato. So tomato takes up more space than even peppers. pepper needs only 1 square foot to grow. So isn't that crazy, guys? But the beauty of tomato is that 1 tomato gives up a lot of fruit, right? We get a lot of harvest from 1 tomato. Peppers, you also get a lot of harvest. So see, this one came out like that. You also get a lot of harvest, but not as compared to 1 tomato. So yeah, even though it takes up all the whole space, I feel like it takes up the whole space of my garden when I'm planting tomatoes. I do get the benefits from gardening and planting them. You know, bell peppers need just 1 square foot of tomato to grow successfully, like to have enough space. However, it's not, if you don't have space and you're not really a big bell pepper eater, I would say that do not grow bell peppers. And the reason I say that is that you don't have as much return on investment if you don't have space, as you would with the like cayenne pepper, habanero, and stuff like that. You get more harvest from those. So if you are limited in space, you want to plant something that this soil needs. I didn't put a lot of moisture in the soil, but yeah, you want to plant something that with the little space you have, you can get a lot of harvest from. Does that make sense, guys? Yep. Yes, that's it. Exactly. So you see how it's easier now for me to separate them. Welcoming for those who are just joining. We're transplanting our seeds to the next phase, and I'm sharing my journey from our journey to seeds. Their journey and my journey from seeds to harvest. I'm basically separating them now neatly as much as I can, like so that I can move them over. So when I asked the question, I said, are you guys who are watching, are you gardeners also, or you just love to watch people who garden? What's your own story? Just want to share? Don't mind sharing, drop it in the comment. Let's have a talk. And if you're considering gardening, I always tell people, I would always advocate for you to start growing your stuff. Things are very expensive out there. Even though this takes time, there's nothing as good as eating what you grew yourself. Not just because of the fact that you grew yourself. It tastes so much better. That's on period. Thanks for the follow, Ed. It tastes so much better. Like, I can't even begin to explain this to you. You just need to taste it yourself. I tasted okra that I grew. Okay, of course I had to taste it. And I never got okra from the farm, from the store again. Okay? Same thing with berries. I still go to the store to get berries, and I kind of like always cringe when I do it, but I still do it anyways. But same thing with berries. Strawberries, blueberry. Oh my gosh, I ate blueberry from the farm, and every time I go to the store now and I still need to get my blueberry, I cringe. I cringe because I'm like, I know I could be taking something way better than this. Sometimes I gotta put it on the floor so I'm able to pull this out nicely. And sometimes it don't come out perfectly. Sometimes it does. As long as you save the root, that's what matters. Here's what it looks like. You can see the roots forming right there. And some of you might be wondering, why am I planting 1, 2 basil per pot? Because basil doesn't need the whole pot to grow properly. In 1 square foot, you can plant 4 basils. So that will give you an idea of, in this tiny pot here, I think 2 should suffice. Okay, based on that calculation, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna do fine with being 2 of them together. in this pot. They will be do just fine. So that's why they're here. Whereas with my peppers and my tomatoes, I make it with just one of them per pot here. Okay? I try as much as possible to grow them a little bit apart. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But it's okay. We all gonna be alright. So this is what it looks like, guys. Alrighty. Okay. This one needs a sister. This one is a brother or sister. So let me get him a brother or a sister. These ones here are not ready for transplants, so I'm not touching them. So here are kind of ready. So I'm gonna bring them out. Yeah, let's pull them out. Let's get them out. Let's get them. Yeah. Yo. Alright. So we have 4 of them. They all have like 2 sets of tulips. Actually there are 5 of them. Believe it or not. And I have only 2 pots left. So best to believe. Better believe. I'm gonna have one with 3 inside. Yep, you heard me. Also, when you plant them with the soil with their on the roots, it's easier to it's actually easier to transplant them versus when you just plant them when you plant them with no soil in the roots. It's way harder, at least from my experience. Like you saw when I tried to plant the first one that was dried out. Anyways, guys, make sure that your seedlings are moist and the soil of the seedlings are moist when you're trying to transplant them. So it's easy for you to take them, pull them out from the seed tray. Okay. All right. This one here, I'm planting 3 of them together because I don't have that much pots left. And didn't I say I was gonna use this? I was supposed to use this for the basils. I forgot. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well, guys. Oh well. I was supposed to use that for my basil, so that I could, because of the peppers. I wanted something bigger for the peppers, but that's fine. Because I still have some ghost peppers left that I get to have one more to put in here. That's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I tell myself it's okay. Because if I don't tell myself, who's gonna tell me? Yeah, you gotta tell yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. That's what the Bible says. So yeah, as long as I got Jesus, we all gonna be alright. We're gonna be alright. I'm gonna be alright. Alright. Peppers are gonna be fine too. It's a little bit smaller than what I planned, but like you see this, it's longer, but this is wider. So I was initially planning to put the basils here, and then I forgot my plants, and now I don't have enough of this for my remaining peppers. But that's fine. We're gonna use this like that. Alright, so this is what we have left here. We have 3 more basils to plant, and then we're gonna be done for today. Alright, so you see how this is nice and cylindrical? If I put just dip a hole in here like that with my fingers, it makes it easy for me to just throw this into the soil. Let me make it a little bit deeper now. Yeah. And I just go like this. I tuck it in. And that's it. That's what I just discovered. I'm almost done transplanting. Isn't that crazy? But I still got more basils to do, so I'm gonna do that. And why am I planting basils? First of all, they're very nice in different cooking. Spaghetti, tomato sauce, noodles, you name it. But the other thing that you want to know about basils that are great companion plants to tomatoes and peppers. And basically, what companion plants do is that they help to deter pests and provide benefit and attract beneficial bugs to your plant. So as opposed to using pesticides and all those stuff to drive away pests and all that, if you do companion planting, then that does the work for you. So guess what? I get nice flavorful basil. At the same time, I get what's it called? I get it to fight off the pest and attract the right bugs to my garden. So that's why we do companion planting. For those who are wondering how can they prevent pests and attract the right bugs into their garden without using pesticide, there is how. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome, guys. You're welcome. I hope you guys found this helpful. I had a good time sharing this life. I love gardening, so I will every day share about gardening as much as I can. I'm done for now. I'll be back probably next week to transplant my remaining seedlings. Let me show you guys what I have left before I say bye. For those who have not seen my face, this is my face. You probably have seen my face in on my page, but yeah. So this is my little, I call it lab, and right here I have onions. At first this onions took forever to grow, but now I feel like this onions is overdue. You know what? Let me transplant these onions. This particular one, these two rather. I'm gonna do it right now. This is ashwagandha. My first time planting ashwagandha, and this took over 21 days. It took exactly 21 days to just have one sprout. Okay, and today I learned they don't like having too much water in their in their soil. So hopefully, once I take out these onions, this is supposed to be all onions, and this is ashwagandha, but all of this only just sprouted. This is basil. You guys saw that already. This is my remaining peppers that are yet to get the second set of true leaves. I'm leaving there to get the true leaves. Here, right here is ghost pepper that is dry that I need to water, and here is another set of ghost peppers. Some of them are so slow. It's supposed to be about 21 days, but are taking forever. But it's okay. We're not complaining. They are still coming out. Okay. Thank you for the like, clips. So that's it, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and transplant my onions. You guys already know how I've been transplanting, so I don't need to video that for you guys. If there are no questions, I am shutting down the live. Thank you all for your time. Hope to see you guys on my page or just see you around. Alrighty. Bye.